Hello and a very warm welcome to Holy Trinity Church in Maisons-Laffitte. And here we are again, Advent. I always feel it arrives sooner than expected. One moment we've just finished the welcome event, we're in September. The next minute people are outside preparing for the Christmas fete and I'm rifling through the cupboards searching for purple candles once again. I just sometimes wonder how on earth the year goes by so quickly. You know, we say Advent is a season of waiting and watching and preparing, and they're lovely words, aren't they? But honestly, most of us don't glide into Advent in a calm and prayerful posture. We sort of stumble into it, slightly frazzled and a bit overstretched, and a little worn down by the year behind us. The world outside tells us we're preparing for Christmas. In the shops, there are lights and decorations, and we see all the vans with the Amazon parcels. And there are parts of this season that are amazing and we genuinely love. The music and the tradition and the sense of warmth and community and hospitality. But there are parts that leave us a bit drained. The pressure, the expectations, the loneliness that rises for some people, and the bittersweet memories as well. Then Advent slips quietly in and says, this isn't about Christmas chaos at all. There's something much deeper happening. God is coming. God is coming. Not into a perfect world, not into a tidy life, but right into the muddle and the ache of real human living. This year, with our book from Gemma Simmons, Donkey Roads and Camel Treks, our Advent theme begins with From Captivity to Reconciliation. And honestly, I don't think you could get a more accurate description of where most of us truly are when Advent finds us. Most of us don't arrive in a place of peace. We arrive with a sense of being held captive in many different ways. We could be captive to habits that we wish we could break. We could be captive to the anxieties that we quietly carry. We could be captive to guilt from unresolved things, captive to busyness, my goodness, trying to hold everything together for everyone. Captive even to disappointment, whether that's our own or other people's. And Advent says it's there, exactly there, that God begins to move. Isaiah, the prophet Isaiah, saw it long before us. He looked out on a world that was divided, exhausted by conflict, and he dared to imagine something different. Something almost impossible, a world where people could walk together up the mountain of the Lord, not to fight, but to learn peace, where swords would become plowshares, where the tools of hurt would become tools of healing. Not a superficial reconciliation, not a polite handshake, but actually a deep transformation of reality. That's God's vision for reconciliation. And Advent invites us into it, not in theory, but in our actual lives. The gospel for today from Matthew then turns the spotlight inward because Jesus says, keep awake, not perform, not panic, not prove you're holy enough. Just wake up. Because captivity often looks a bit like spiritual sleepwalking. Jesus mentions the people of Noah's day, living their ordinary lives, eating and drinking, working, celebrating, completely unaware that actually God was there trying to break into their world. They weren't bad, they were just distracted. And many of us are just distracted. Advent arrives every year with this quiet but urgent reminder. Don't miss what God is doing. Don't miss it because you're overwhelmed. Don't miss God because you think he only appears once life is sorted out and sparkling. God comes in the middle of the mess. God always has. Think of the first coming of Christ. He came to a teenage girl in Nazareth who was not expecting the angel Gabriel to completely rearrange her life. He came to the shepherds, people who didn't count socially or religiously, people who weren't even allowed in the temple. He came to a world that had almost stopped believing that change, that hope was possible. And he still comes into our captivity, into our tiredness, into the places that we've quietly shut down, offering reconciliation that goes deeper than we're used to imagining. So maybe the real question of Advent isn't, are you ready for Christmas? Because mostly, truthfully, most of us aren't. Maybe the better question is, what is the quality of your waiting this Advent? Are we waiting passively, simply trying to get through the month? Or waiting actively, stepping into the light, even in small, imperfect ways? Advent waiting is hopeful. It's alert. It's courageous in small, practical ways. Active waiting looks different to other waiting. It looks like forgiving somebody that we've quietly given up on. It looks like pausing just long enough to notice grace or beauty in the day. It looks like making space for prayer, even if it's messy or short or we don't know what to say. It looks like letting God soften a part of us that's become hard and defensive. It looks like opening the door to someone we've slowly closed off. It looks like perhaps beginning reconciliation, not out there, but perhaps it looks like beginning reconciliation here in ourselves, forgiving ourselves first. Many things to ponder. The author of Donkey Roads and Camel Tracks, Gemma Simmons, reminds us that Advent is both an outward and an inward journey. We start in captivity, but we're not meant to stay there. We are drawn step by step towards reconciliation with God, with others, and with ourselves. This is what Christ's coming does. He gathers that which has been scattered. He heals what has been broken. He joins together what has been divided in the world and in our own hearts. And yes, that might sound enormous, too big for an ordinary Sunday morning perhaps. But God always starts small. He always has. He starts with a whisper, not a shout, with a nudge, not a command, with a candle, not a floodlight, and with a softened heart and not a dramatic conversion. This is the way of Advent, small beginnings that carry enormous hope. And at the centre of all this stands one word, Emmanuel. Excuse me. Emmanuel, meaning God with us. Not God who might be with us if we behave. Not God who was once with us in the past. The God who is with us now in our captivity and in our journey into freedom. And that's the heart of Advent faith, daring to believe that God is already here, already reconciling, already at work beneath the surface of our very ordinary days. So yes, this morning, the Christmas fete is now over as we watch this, or as you listen to this on Sunday morning. We light the Advent candles, we charge towards the Nativity and the carol service. And yes, it's starting to look a lot like Christmas. But Advent says, don't rush to the finish line. Let your soul catch up with you. Reconciliation takes time, freedom takes courage, hope, real hope takes practice. So this year, let Advent do its quiet work within you. Let God meet you where you actually are and not where you think you should be. Let Christ break into your ordinary moments with unexpected peace. Because Christ will come, whether we are ready or not. The real question of Advent always is, will we recognize him when he does? Amen. Have a good week.